Hello and welcome to another episode of Getting to Know NILP. I am Mark Wheeler. I am the Multimedia Production Manager for NILP and also the host of this show. So we have been producing a series of shows on Lawrence Community Access Television so you can get to know NILP better and the programs and services that we offer. So the first question is, what is NILP? Well, NILP is the Northeast Independent Living Program. We are a consumer-controlled independent living center that provides advocacy and services to all people with disabilities who wish to live independently in the community. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our independent living philosophy states that individuals with disabilities are the best determinants of their own needs and service choices. And we see that they become more empowered and to make changes in their lives and become more self-sufficient and self-reliant. It's really all about helping people live their lives to their best potential. So people with disabilities are the largest minority group in the world, and we were the last ones to have a civil rights law enacted, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's more than likely among you viewers that you or somebody you know has a disability. That's why NILP is here to help people with disabilities live independently as they choose. As our tagline says, we are peer-to-peer resources for people with disabilities. Now, NILP is non-residential, so we do give different choices that we have for our programs and services, but basically our 5 basic core services are information and referral, peer support, skills training, advocacy, and transition services. And through our series of programs, you will learn about all of our core services and that much more, and we'll get specifically into our different programs that we do offer. So having said that, I would like to introduce this program's guests, and this is from the NILP Community Supports Team. I'm very happy to have here today on our show our team, and I'd like to introduce Jennifer Howell, who is our Community Supports Director, and also William Sanabria, who is a Community Support Specialist. So welcome to the show, and maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your title and role.
Sure. Well, thanks for having us, Mark. It's nice to be here today. I'm Jennifer Howell. I am the Community Supports Director. I've been with the agency for 5 years now. I came on as an options counselor, and I've kind of worked my way from the ground up. Community supports consists of multiple programs. Today we're here to talk about the program Community Supports itself. So we'll get more into that as we go. But yes, as the director, I oversee over probably about 5 different contracts. We work with several state agencies, and we have employees that wear multiple hats and covering all kinds of programs and services. But happy to be here.
That sounds great, Jennifer. And how many people do you have on your community supports team?
Currently, we have 9. We
Okay.
have 9 different staff members. Yep.
Great to serve. Okay, thank you, Jennifer. And William, a little bit about you and your role and what you
Well,
do.
hi, Mark. Thank you for having me here. My name is William Sanabria. Like you said, I'm a community support specialist. I've been with the agency for about 8 years. I started as an intern straight out of college, and I've been here ever since in the community support specialist role, working with individuals in the community from all walks of life with different abilities.
Excellent, William. And you've been there, I know, longer than me, just a year longer. Yes, I've been there 7 years. So it's great to have you here as well. So
Thank
the
you.
first question for our viewers, and I'm sure they're thinking that, what is community supports? What is this all about?
Well, community supports is a lot of things to a lot of people, Mark. Community supports can be anything and everything that a person with a disability might need to live independently in the community. That can be, maybe it's transportation. Maybe they need some transportation options. It might be housing. It might be home modifications. It might be assistive technology. It might be connecting to health insurance options like Mass Health or others. It really can be, there's really no limit to what is community supports. It's basically any person of any age in the community that has a disability or relates to having a disability they need to connect to some kind of a resource or a program in order to enhance their independence in the community. It could be PCA services, anything and everything. It's really there's no nutshell answer to what is community supports.
So it depends on the individual. So that
Exactly.
person can call, communicate with us, and then their specific needs are identified, and then it's just taken from there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good, very good. So when you talk about resources, what types of resources are you referring to?
I'll let William
Well,
get that.
William?
okay, so
Okay.
in my role of community support specialist, my role is to link them from whatever need they may have or think they may need is driven by the consumer and their immediate need. And just to give you some examples, some of the core resources that most people always seek out is housing, for example. Housing is a big one. So my role is to educate the consumer, talk to them about the CHAMP housing application. Okay, so what is the CHAMP application? It's Common Housing Application for Massachusetts Public Housing. So that's just one. There is the Mass Rental Voucher Program, a mobile voucher program. There is the Alternative Housing Choice Voucher for people with mobility challenges. So the key is to sit with the consumer and provide the options to them, explain every program the state has to offer in detail from point A, explain the process, and connect them with the proper housing agency. And that's just one instance. We may have that same individual that comes in has a housing aid, but through experience and through discovery and interviewing, we realize sometimes they have a financial need. So then I ask them, have you applied for Social Security disability, supplemental security income? Talk to them about the different options to apply, unpack each program so they can understand which one they may potentially be eligible for, and direct them to the proper resource so they can get the ball rolling. Because finances without housing or finances, how are they going to put food on the table? How are they going to have a roof over their head? And then there's also health insurance. Someone with a complex medical concern or issue may not be aware if they have Medicare, what are their options? Right now, we're open enrollment. How does that affect them? What are their options? Could they switch their Medigap plan, their prescription drug plan? Screen them also for public benefits. Are they eligible for maybe mass health? Explain that to them, and walk them from the beginning stages of when we sit down. What is the application they need to fill out? Where do they need to submit the application? To the overall outcome.
William, it's really helping each individual navigate what's a pretty complex process, but you really help them get through that and make them understand what really might work best for them too. And it's interesting when you talk about housing, because there's absolutely a huge need for that too. And
Absolutely.
besides working with individuals, NILP also offers housing workshops that we do periodically.
Yes.
When this show airs, I know we have one upcoming on October 24th, but there's other ones too. And I think that helps when people have a forum where they can sit down and ask questions about housing as far as other needs. But the whole point is a lot of people don't understand what the process is, and you really help them understand it that much better
Yes.
by spending the time
Yes.
to work with them on that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And
Okay.
the whole idea is to educate them.
So if you look at community supports and who you serve, how would you, who do you serve? Maybe you can just let everybody know, just who does this cover? What ages, what groups?
Would you like to answer that?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's a great question, Mark. Most agencies, I feel like, do target a specific population, whether it be by disability or by age. An independent living center like NILP is quite unique in that we have no barriers on who we serve. We serve people of all ages, all types of disability, all walks of life. It's you know, we anybody can really walk through our doors. We work with folks that have cognitive disability, folks that have mental health disability, physical disability, folks that might be hard of hearing or deaf, folks that are blind. I mean, sometimes we get referrals on folks that disabilities we've never even heard of, you know, and we kind of learn and grow with that consumer. So basically, we serve everybody.
Very good. And I think also in ILP, we really reflect the communities that we serve. Obviously, as we're in Lawrence, we serve a very large Hispanic population too. So a lot of the people in community supports and other areas of NILP are bilingual too. So we're there to help.
Yeah, and if I can mention something on that.
Please.
So we serve the whole Merrimack Valley region, 52 communities and some gray areas. And yes, I'm Spanish speaking, I'm bilingual, so that also gives us the unique ability to also serve our Spanish speaking population and also educate them and address their needs and concerns in the community.
And I'd have to say that's part of the pureness. People feel very comfortable if you can really speak their language too.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So we've learned a little bit more about community supports who you serve. How does one go about making a referral to community supports?
Yep.
How does that work?
That's the easiest part, Mark. Anybody can make a referral. That's done by, you can either call the agency, the main number, the 978-687-4288, extension 125. You can walk through the door. We have a lot of consumers that self-refer. Maybe they heard about us from, you know, a TV show or a friend or somebody that they saw some kind of an ad or a publication. Sometimes we get a lot of referrals from social workers. Sometimes physicians will refer to our PCA program or other services. Sometimes it's just a neighbor or a friend, somebody that's concerned about somebody else with a disability that just feels they need to be connected.
Right.
So anybody can make a referral. There's no guideline on who can make a referral.
Excellent. Okay, a variety of resources and simply as word of mouth.
Exactly.
As they've heard about our organization too.
Yep.
And also, besides the phone number that you mentioned, 978-687-4288, extension 125, you can send an email also to iandr@nilp.org too. That will work as well.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So we do get these questions. How about, is there any fee for this program?
Yeah, that's another good question. That's the best part. There really is no fee. This program is covered by the state of Massachusetts. Our biggest supporter is Massachusetts Rehab Commission. Of course, we have some other state agencies, Executive Office of Elder Affairs. But basically, anybody that calls or walks through our doors looking to be connected to a community support specialist is not going to be asked questions like form of payment, what kind of insurance do you have, how are you going to pay, because they're not going to be charged. It's a free service. It's provided by the state of Massachusetts to connect and to help navigate consumers through the complex variety of the programs and services that are offered.
It's very complex, so people
It is.
thinking like, oh, I have to go through a lot of red tape and bureaucracy. It's not that way at all.
No, as long as they have a documented disability, that works.
Yep.
Okay, a document of disability. Can you expand on that? A document, what type of document, and what does that entail?
What it is anyone who self-identifies or has a disability, whether it's a mobility disability, whether they're deaf, hard of hearing, someone who has a learning disability, someone who's visually impaired, someone who has MS, Parkinson's, and someone who has a true disability that requires a little extra attention.
Okay, very good. Thanks for covering that too. So what happens after someone makes a referral? Can you tell me about the process a bit more in detail?
So they spend a brief, probably a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes on the phone or in person speaking to our INR specialist, who's just going to ask a series of questions to get some information into the database. Then it actually comes to my desk, and
So Jennifer, just, I'm sorry to stop
Yep.
you, but, so there is a person specifically in our INR that
There
somebody
is.
can
Yep,
contact?
yep.
And what they do is they just direct it to the right area it needs to
Yeah,
go?
they basically get the demographics,
Right,
phone number,
okay.
address, like William mentioned, the disability, and what is the need, what's the reason for the call. And I want to make a point on that. Sometimes people feel like maybe they can't call because maybe they don't know what they need, but usually those are the best ones, because it's okay to make a referral even if you don't know what you need, because what that tells us as a team is that they don't know what's available. So anybody that calls, and we do get a lot of calls of people that are frightened, maybe crying, or just generally confused, saying, I don't know what I need, but I need something. What that tells us is they do need something. They need, and what they need most is the education, because they don't know what's available to them. But yeah, so as far as the process, the INR specialist will get the information that's needed, the demographics, the disability, some information on what the person's looking for, if that's identified, if they know. And then it comes to me, and I kind of review it with my team, and it gets assigned to an available staff member, mainly based on specialty and the need of the consumer. Availability plays a factor, but William, for example, is an expert he's a Shine specialist, and anything mass health related, insurance related, Social Security related, he's the strongest on our team. He's very knowledgeable, he's an expert. So we don't really mess around and assign someone else, though the other staff members know about those services as well.
Right.
William really kind of has the top notch on that, so we kind of connect them to who's got that information, put them right to the source.
Right
Connect
to
them
the source. Gets them right away too.
Yeah.
And I've been at one of these Shine events and everything. So can you talk a little bit about Shine, just
So
what that's about? I mean,
So-
it's pretty amazing the work that's done there.
So what Shine is serving the health insurance needs of everyone, and what it is, it's a piece of that is funded by the state that serves to educate folks on, number one, on Medicare health insurance, for example. As anyone knows, there are certain elements to it that may be confusing for most folks. For example, Medicare Part A, Part B, Part D, what is that? Okay, what are Medigap plans? What are Medicare Advantage plans? Little items like that help us educate the person so they can best make an informed decision and improve on the wellness of their lives and take care of their medical needs.
You really help explain all the differences, so they can identify what need is best and works for them.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent too. So staff, I know we do direct services, people can come in too, so it happens in a variety of ways for sure. Okay, and thank you, William, and thanks, Jennifer, for just getting into a little more detail about that.
You're welcome.
So our tagline at NILP is peer-to-peer resources for people with disabilities. So peer support's a big, obviously huge part of what we do. Can you explain what that means to our viewers?
Sure. Would you like me to take this one?
Sure.
So good question, Mark. So what is peer-to-peer support, right? So in my situation, I am a person that works in the community. I provide, navigation, education to people, persons with different abilities. But I also have my own different ability. I'm visually impaired, I'm legally blind, so that's a unique challenge. So I'll give you an example. Over this summer, we had one young individual who recently lost their sight. So I was able to connect with them through the Mass Commission for the Blind in our agency. And he came into our agency, and I worked with him one-on-one. Number one, as a peer, as a mentor, but also to show him some skills to kind of boost his confidence, work on coping strategies, anything that relates to his new situation as he transitions. And the key goal is to help these individuals so they can be independent enough so they can help themselves. and do whatever they choose to in the community.
As a peer, you almost really act as a mentor too, to help them through the process and really show them it's about self-determination, that you can get to that place.
Absolutely.
And all that. And I have to tell you, I always think of another example, and we did an NILP About Us video a few years ago too, and you actually share an example there where a gentleman's calling you on the phone, you were just having phone communications, and he was asking the question, well, how can you understand what I'm going through? But as soon as he came and met with you in person and saw with your own disability, he immediately felt comfortable. So it just kind of
Yes.
shows, being a
Yes.
true peer, that you understand, you have that perspective.
Absolutely, because we all are unique and we may be different from one another, but we're the same overall.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so important. It really is, and everything. So let's just go over a little bit more about peer support too, as I talked about earlier about our 5 core services that's in there too. Can we talk, I know we touched on information referral. Can we
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit more?
Sure, sure. Again, anybody can make a referral. Referrals come from all walks of life. I did neglect to mention, we also get referrals from our state partners, our state agencies. Massachusetts Rehab Commission makes referrals to us. Executive Office of Elder Affairs makes referrals to us. Our community partner, Elder Services of the Merrimack Valley, we get referrals from them. We often get calls from the state agencies such as Department of Developmental Disabilities, DDS, Department of Mental Health, DMH, Mass Commission for the Blind, Mass Commission for the Deaf.
And a
right?
hard of hearing, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We get calls a lot of times. Community partners. You know, we get calls from everybody. And again, our referrals. There's no typical day for a community support specialist. We don't know what referrals we're going to get. We don't know who's going to walk through our door. A lot of times, our staff learn with the consumers. We all learn from each other. I'll tell you, as the director, it's my role is often hard when we have new staff. I got to tell you, it's probably one of the hardest positions to train for because we encompass everything. You know, NILP has a lot of different programs. Community supports is one of them. But community supports kind of covers everything in a nutshell. It talks about, I mean, we work with youth. We have a whole youth department. We work with people with mental health. We have an RLC department. You know, we work with folks that need the PCA program. That's a separate program.
That's a separate program.
You know, a lot of our consumers need to get connected to Social Security. Housing, a lot of our consumers need housing. We really encompass a lot. But what I tell the staff is, you don't need to know about everything. You have to keep an open mind and you have to be willing to learn. You know, and like I said, we'll get referrals of things that we may not even have heard of that, but we research, we do our homework. There's no black and white answer. Sometimes a consumer fits into a particular program, you know, into the guidelines, whatever it might be, and sometimes they don't. But at NILP, as a community supports team member, we don't just say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, you don't qualify for the PCA program based on this. We look for another resource. You know, it might not be a program that NILP offers, it might be a program offered somewhere else, it might be a program offered through the state. But at the end of the day, we're gonna find something to connect that consumer to a program or a service so that they're gonna have whatever it is that they need. Whatever that unmet need was that they called about, we're gonna find something.
All these different resources too. And you
Yeah.
bring up a good point, for example, about community organizations. We have a very strong network, and I think we learn so much from each other
Yeah.
that way too, as far as every consumer that we work with. So
Yeah.
that's all terrific. Well, I want to thank both of you for being here today on the show. Thank you, Jennifer Howell and William Sanabria. Thank you. You really
Thank you, Mark,
articulated
for having us.
a great overview about what NILP's Community Supports is all about. So thank you, viewers, for joining us today. Remember, you can always look us up at nilp.org, or you can always call us too at 978-687-4288. And we're anxious to hear from you, any questions. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, so join us there as well. And thank you so much for joining us today for today's episode of Getting to Know NILP, and we'll see you next time.